Hey, it's Lauren. We have a treadmill that we've pulled apart and are salvaging a bunch of material off of. We're making a belt tensioning system right now. So this is the frame of the treadmill. It's going to be an arm that's going to hold the pulley. We're going to use the bearings and the belt roller to actually connect, tension the belt. Over there we've got the motor controller and the main motor as well as a smaller motor. And they used a fairly nice, this is a reasonable gauge metal square tubing, and we didn't really have any of that in our scrap pile, so we're using this stuff. Caleb's got the rollers over in the wood shop, and he's going to show you how the actual roller is going to work.
Okay, so these are some of the parts we've scrapped off of the treadmill. We're going to be using this bar, which was originally with the treadmill roller. We got some extra bearings here, but we're going to be using these bearings that came on the second roller. And what I've done is I've just cut this down to size for what our belt is. It's about 3 inches, so we cut a 4-inch roller so we could have some extra space. Now we've got this is the pivot system. We're gonna have this bolt that's welded onto the frame of the chipper that we're tensioning, and we have this piece of tube channeling here that's gonna go around this and act like a pivot. Lauren's making the C channel that's gonna hold the roller, and basically it's gonna be spring tensioned by a lever. So there's gonna be a spring that's attached to a lever that is also attached to this pivot, and the higher we tension the spring, the more pressure it puts on the belt. We were having problems with our chipper because our belt was flapping and it was not as efficient as it could have been, so we decided to fix that. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna lay this out and cut it to the proper dimension for this, and then basically I'm gonna fit this into there, and we're gonna have to measure the correct length for this here, and then we're gonna take this to the lathe, cut it down to whatever length you need, and then we're gonna put a shoulder on it that's matching this shoulder, and then we'll probably be good to go from there. Okay, so now we've got this pivot here. This is going to be welded onto a plate, which is then going to be welded onto the chipper. And basically there's going to be a bar that goes here, and then the C channel off of that, and then there's going to be extra bar coming out here that's going to be attached to a spring, which then will tension against the belt with the roller in the C channel.
Okay, so this is going to be Caleb's first time using our lathe, I think.
For metal, anyway.
Oh yeah, he used it to thin down the ends of his ladder rungs. Anyway, so we've got this tool point a little bit closer to center, but it's still not very close. We're using these metal spacers that I made late at night when it was dark, and I just wanted to get the lathe spinning and touching some metal. So the goal is to take that shaft down to give it a shoulder like that one. Caleb says it's 0.6 inches with our digital calipers. We've got this lathe turned all the way up, which is 836 RPM.
Yeah.
And let's watch Caleb burn some steel. He's got a mark in that blue felted part, and he's just going to touch the tool to there so that he can make the mark a little bit easier to see. I just reground our tool that was quite chipped on the bench grinder, and I didn't necessarily do the best of jobs. So here we go, Caleb's first time lathing steel.
I'm just rubbing. This wants to be lower then, is that right or not?
Well, it wants to be centered. I guess so, yeah. I guess the undercut isn't enough.
We fixed it and put some different shims in to get the level lower, so that actually...
1 second.
It will cut. So we're going to try that.
We tried wood shims. They didn't work. They were squishy.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's not absolutely awful. It's not really very good, but
It's not really very good, but it's better than some of the other ones we've had.
it's better than when I was trying to do it and my tool tip was really off.
Garbage.
I think the tool was also moving while I was doing that one. I don't think I tightened it tight enough. So this looks like we actually have a usable tool to put a collar on this. This is just to put a collar on this for a bearing.
It's not real critical, it just needs to fit the...
And the shaft that the bearing was on before didn't really have the best of surface finishes either.
Yeah.
Well, this camera's not really the best. You can't really see that, but it's not really the best surface finish.
Okay, so let's try another deeper pass and see what happens.
Yeah.
.67. Let's actually see if the bearing fits on that. Where are we? Oh, oh no, never mind. Here you go.
So we've got a plastic sleeve over the bearing because that's what the other people did too. There's a nice treadmill bearing in there. And
yeah, looks like it needs a little bit more.
if we had a press, we could probably press the bearing onto this already.
Yeah.
But we don't. So here we go. So this particular cross slide, the dial indicator is a funky thing, and we haven't figured out exactly. We're probably going to change it, but this nut here doesn't seem to stay tight on this, and so when you're trying to adjust it, it often makes it so when you try and move the slide out, it clamps on the bushing because it's just a threaded thing, and then
maybe we should
grab some emery paper.
Yeah. Just clean that up because it's really
Oh, it's
close.
quite rough. Yeah, we have quite a nice rough surface here. So our battery's dying. We're just going to put some emery paper on there, and then we'll show you when we actually get the bearing on. So let's see if this bearing fits on again. Not quite.
It's close. We finally
Wait.
got this down to
Try
dimension and fits on pretty good. There is a wee bit of play on the end there because our lathe isn't totally level and whatever it could be, the ways are twisted or whatever, but there's a bit of taper down here, so it ended up being a little bit narrower at the end there, but I think this will be just fine for what we're doing.
Also, we don't have a dead stop, which might have helped a little bit. It is a somewhat small piece.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to take that out of the lathe and we're going to start putting this thing together.
Seeing as the roller piece goes together pretty quick, I think we'll just show you Caleb taking it out of the lathe. There's this end was already done. Caleb cut the tube down sides while I was
gonna
making
press this together. But basically that's what we've got. Yeah. I'll get a mallet. Okay, so this is Lauren. He's cleaning up the channel for the roller. Basically, we've gotten most of these parts from a treadmill, and so there's some pretty good square channeling, square tubing rather, that came off the treadmill. It's about 1x2, and he's just cut off an angled piece, and it's gonna. You have the other piece, Lauren?
Yeah, it's right here.
Show them how it's gonna work.
Oh yeah, I even have the roller. I think it's in my pocket. Okay, so we're gonna drill a hole in the end here, and this piece is gonna go like that with the roller in between.
Sweet.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, you got the idea. And then we got a spring on this end or whatever. We're gonna cut it down to whichever length we need, and then yeah, it'll be great.
Also, we might have some obstacles, so we might, after the pivot point, put a little bend in our channel. We'll have to see what we need.
Yeah. Okay, so we've put, this is the chipper here, and this is our problem. There's a lot of, I mean, this is a better belt than what we had on there, but we still need to tension it because we kind of savaged this and we want to get that belt out of the way so it's not rubbing. So this is where we're welding our pivot. We're putting a nut like that. Hold on, just show you guys here. And we've got a piece of tubing over our bolt, and basically we're gonna weld that on there and screw. Sorry, I'm horrible at cameraing. We're gonna weld that on there and screw it in, and then we're gonna have a pivot here for our doodly-doo to go on. Yeah, and here's our roller with a pivot hole here. And this roller is going to be on the belt to tension it, and then we're going to have springs on the end here. So yeah, we'll show you what it looks like once it's all put together.
Okay, so we've welded the nut on. That's where the pivot's going to go. Here's the springs we're using. This is where I was doing my welding. And over here, Caleb is cleaning up my weld jobs. He's also cutting a slot for the belt tensioner to go through the guard. Yeah, this is our belt tensioner arm. We got to drill a couple holes over here for the springs to attach to, and that's the slot. I think your slot needs to be a bit bigger, Caleb.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this project is going pretty well. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the final product here. We still have to tension this belt up, but it's out of the way, and you can see that really puts a tension on this belt there, and it makes it super freaking tight. We took an old spring from a washer and drilled a couple holes so it's adjustable, but we decided that one was the best. As you can see, that's like...
It's almost too tight.
Well, we can loosen that off a wee bit down there, and
also, this fix also gives us more clearance here. When the other belts were flapping, they were rubbing there.
Yeah, and
this was too far away and the bolt was bending.
This old like tensioner is really bad. I mean, we only used it so we can get the belt back on and tightened it up as little as we could, really.
You're yelling, take your earplugs out.
Oh, sorry, yeah, well, sorry, I got earplugs in.
And the slot for the Caleb cut in the guard is almost unnecessary, but it does make sure we have some nice clearance here. I'll just show you what it's going to look like with the guard back in place. If you want to take a couple steps back.
That actually looks pretty slick, Lauren. I like that.
Yeah. So, we have like half a day left. We'll probably actually end up using this machine for the second half of the day.
Heck yeah.
And then all of this mud everywhere. That, like, there's a half-inch trail of mud from the door of the wood shop to the bench grinder.
It's pretty bad, and it's also in our metal shop, so we're gonna, like, it's not ideal, but we're gonna chip the crap out of our metal shop too, so we can level it and put a concrete pad down for our lathe. I mean, wood chips burn, and we have lots of stuff around that's gonna be hot, but we'll just have to be on our toes for that. So yeah, we're gonna clean up and then put this bad boy back together, and we'll get you some video footage of the chipper working.